waiting on us. Awkward.
Oh. Whoopsie.
Alright, so we're going to get into Daybreak. It's game number 1 in a fresh best of 3. It's HyuN versus TY. I'm really honestly not disappointed about this. I am disappointed and sad we didn't get Maru and Rogue despite our genius engineering to follow the games and muddle through it. But it's okay, because like we said, always have a plan B available so that you don't get stuck doing nothing. Game number 1, brand new best of 3 here for the IEM Gyeonggi qualifiers. It's the last chance qualifiers, and there's no more beyond this. Single elimination, so it's dangerous for everybody playing. In the bottom left side of Daybreak, though, we have a soft spot in our heart for this guy. In the bottom left, it's the red Zerg player, HyuN.
In the top right, as the blue Terran, he is TY.
Okay, so for HyuN, before Pult, before Byun, before all these guys that would just win and gobble up the weekly cups, it was all about HyuN. Early Hots and Wings of Liberty, like this guy was everywhere, king of online cups. But the reason he's got such a soft spot in our hearts, guys, is because not only did HyuN win, or no, he lost, but he played in the finals of our very first ever like big online cup. He did win our first ever live event at Hell It's About Time. So a lot of love for this guy because he's just been continuing to come and show up and play over and over and over.
Over and over and over and over. No, he was probably the only player to universally have a oversaturation problem. I say that because, like, Pult, in my opinion, I don't like seeing Pult, like, not because I hate the guy or anything like that, because I felt like I saw him too much at some point. But I think a lot of people don't agree with that. HyuN, I think, was, like, everyone would point to him as a reason why you don't give so many points to people that had won. You don't give invites to people who, like, had so many points, because that was the problem. You literally just got invited to everything when they were playing everything.
Yeah.
It was actually a little... He was a fun guy, fun personality, fun play style.
He's got those
that's
pants,
fine.
man. Those pajama
Got the
pants.
exactly. But he did appear in like every single tournament, and they got a little like stale. So it's like really weird that we haven't seen him in what is effectively like a year now. I know he's popped up here and there, but he was basically not in Kespa jail as we usually use the term, but in Kespa team don't do anything jail.
Yeah.
For so long.
He was forced to sit on the bench. There's a lot of events we wanted him to play in. He wanted to play in, but was told, hey, we know you're never going to play in Pro League, but you have to be available anyway, so you can't play in that event. Which is, I'm not going to lie, where I found some of the silver lining with the whole Pro League dying thing. Like, yes, it's universally and objectively a sad thing, but it's really nice that we quote-unquote get some of our friends back, like HyuN. Now, TY opened with the 3-Rax Reaper we didn't even touch on because, well, he's just been doing it every time for the last 3 qualifiers. I think at this point it's more surprising and noteworthy if he doesn't open with 3-Rax Reaper.
Yeah, right? I don't know if this is the way that Terrans are all going to do it, because of course we just saw Natural open up with 2 racks on Echo, but TY certainly is a fan of this as just his opener. I mean, it seriously is more than an opener than ever before when we said it like that. Thermal would commit more to this, and he still always uses an opener. Like, that was just the thing he did. TY... I mean, I've heard a lot of like Terrans, like I say, that they need to do damage early on to put themselves in a good position to get 2 tanks, for instance, or get 2 mech. But I don't know if 3-Rax Reaper was what I was expecting that to be the pressure.
Well, so, I mean, for all intents and purposes, TY should have just taken massive losses there. Instead, he gets 2 of the Reapers out alive and causes severe chaos in the mineral line. I guarantee you HyuN was panicking just a moment ago. I mean, that was really scary. Yeah.
It forced him to mess up a little bit on his macro. For instance, his Overlord's way too late, so he's supply blocked for full Overlord, and that's TY. He does decent damage to the Reapers. That was good damage this game, but decent damage usually when we see him open up like this. And he's going to have this wall to fall back to. It's not the strongest wall with the add-ons now, but HyuN's not Baneling busting, so it doesn't matter.
Thank you to Kinky Mal, by the way, for the 25 months of saving esports. Says, Ace Kate, love ya. Don't regret 1 month of supporting all the StarCraft content you guys put out. Hashtag staying alive. Thank you so much. And Bruce Moose, 96 as well for the 10 months. You're both awesome. Stay awesome. Now, this wall is actually really worrisome because if this was a Baneling bust, it's not, he's putting the Roach Horn down, but if this was a Baneling bust, TY would actually lose a lot of very expensive add-ons. Normally when you lose depots, you're like, it was just minerals. I can drop a mule and replace that easily. Reactors and tech labs, not necessarily the case.
Especially when they're upgrading.
Yeah,
and
can you
TY
imagine
is
losing
upgrading.
a stim timing to that? Oh my god.
Yeah, he's upgrading the combat shields, which once upon a time was just like, it's a faster upgrade, and it gives you a lot of, more health on those Marines, which defensively can be a very big help for a Baneling bust, where like only Lings would be flooding in after. Marines would actually last longer. But Legacy of the Void, I think we've almost exclusively seen it as a reason to push out, even if it's not very committed, which is what TY did last time we saw him on Daybreak, I do believe, which was just push out to the third base and then leave immediately.
Well, chaos ensues, but all the Reapers finally go down. Marines also backing it up after seeing so many Lings get out alive. The scary thing is, like, okay, a lot of these Lings are almost dead, but he still doesn't know that there's no Banelings behind it. He has to assume that these Lings would be turning into Banelings right now.
Which is a little worrying, because his split then works against, works better for Lings rounds, but you need to split if there are Banelings. He's going to scan and see a Roach Warren, which might put in his mind... Oh, no, he sees the Baneling Nest too. No, it's a Blue Sheeper, my bad.
Yeah, Baneling Nest is over here.
Okay. So I was going to say, it might put in his mind that he's going to go for Roaches, and just Roaches, not Banelings.
Well, still going to try and take that third CC, usually in the middle, and it looks to be the direction that Command Center's heading. He's going to get the Overlord. Funny enough, thanks for the vision, buddy. Oh, he's actually going to turn around and take a different base. We've been seeing a lot of emphasis on the middle base because of the power the Watchtower brings with it, but maybe TY is a little bit spooked by HyuN's control. I mean, actually thinking back on it, well, a lot of us know HyuN for his Roach play and all that, is actually, he was the first one to go for 90 plus Banelings, right? Like, he was the guy who would go for, like, enough Banelings to break the planet in half, for goodness sake.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny. He was known for a while as the mass Baneling guy, but then for another part of his legacy, he was known as just Roaches, Roaches, and more Roaches.
Yeah, I feel like at some point, every Korean Zerg has probably shared the crown for Roach King at some point in their career.
Probably. But this all basically means that not very much in the Spire, right? Like, we didn't mention Spire at all right there, where there are some players that you'll be like, Spire is their identity, like Scarlet. Even Rogue, I would say, has like been a pretty good Spire player, and that's what we saw last game. But HyuN, not so much. So in a weird way, especially as things calm down with a new patch, you might even anticipate not having to worry about Spire with this guy. It's difficult to always just call that immediately. You want to get a scout in, but it wouldn't be entirely wrong all the time if we're dealing with HyuN. And he is just going to go mass Baneling Roach, which is such an old school style. But now the Banelings have 10 more health.
I will say that I think the Baneling health is not going to play that big of an impact when it comes to things like Widow Mines getting their hits, obviously, or even tanks getting shots fired. But it is going to still be that impact of like maybe 1 or 2 extra ones will reach the clump of Marines. Maybe 1 or 2 extra ones go that extra meter or 2 further. And I am curious at what point it's like too much. Like if you're on 90 Banelings, is it just insane that they all have 10 extra health? Is it ridiculous and unfair? Or is it going to be pretty nominally not a big deal?
Yeah, I really don't think it's going to be that big of a deal as the game's getting the bigger armies, but it's still, like, I don't know for sure. Like, it could be a huge deal.
There's actually a big bit of information reveal there out of TY. Realizing there's no anti-air, but also fully aware of the attack coming in full force on his base.
Oh, yeah.
Now, there's not that many Banelings initially, but not all the Marines are out of the medevac. Focus firing on the ones he can off a creep. Not too bad. Splits on a TY look fantastic. HyuN's got round 2 finishing up, though, rolling on up that ramp. No creep on this side of the map. TY continuing to dance around this. Marines fall back behind the Marauders. The focus fire's not too bad. The tank helps out a lot. I think he's going to hold this.
I think he is, too. That tank helped just a little bit, but he just had a good army supply in general. HyuN's attempt to all-in on 3 bases with Roach Baneling, I don't think actually gave him enough units, unless TY significantly messed up his micro.
Right, and especially, I mean, that was off creep for so much of that, too. That's a whole nother can of worms, obviously, but TY's splits and kiting, I just got goosebumps all kinds.
It was very patient. It was very controlled micro, which is always the most impressive part. Because, like, people can spread, but they're so busy spreading, the Marines like literally don't shoot at all, and they still die.
Yeah.
Like it's that like tiny little like 1 step back, just enough. That's so impressive.
The other part of this for the tanks that makes this even better, obviously, okay, they can reach out, they can try and shoot the Banelings, all that good stuff, but it's actually the fact that they demolish the Roaches. In the past, the Bio may not have been able to clean that up. That's questionable, but the tanks with 70 damage a shot have no problem pushing Roaches back anymore.
Yeah. And TY did have a bit of an upgrade lead, which he will continue to hold. Nope, not quite. His +2 armor is a little bit late. But still good upgrades.
Now the concern is, as he pushes towards HyuN's side of the map, HyuN's going to be fighting on creep this time around, and it's going to be marginally better for him. Big thank you, by the way, for the new sub from Lowfear, or Low L0 Wisher. I don't know how to say that. Thank you so much for subscribing. A couple of tumors still down here to the south. Spire on deck out of HyuN, but he may have already wasted too much gas through that initial attack.
Yeah, I think that is the case. I mean, he got up to a very good drone count, 71 and 4 bases, so he has an economy. It just is, he's back to, well, he's still on. It's not that he's back to it. He's still on these units that don't work out so well as the game continues on. Especially without Ravagers to try and actually take out those tanks, which I guess he's just going to depend on the Lings getting us around on them for him. And I'm so glad we're seeing tanks, by the way. We haven't seen these guys in TVZ from any of the Koreans.
And we've of course been seeing talks about like why they're good, why they're bad. I think specifically because he did scan the Roachborn so early is one of the biggest influencing reasons we see them. But that was a cost-effective SCV. But he can still kite back to them. They're pretty far back though, sitting around that watchtower looking for their shots. Hits the Lings, not too bad. Drops go off of the main, drops go off of the natural. And, oh, HyuN's got no way to reply. His Spire's gonna get knocked down.
Yep, and he's not built. He banked so much for that Spire.
He was hoping about like those 12 or 13 mutas right away. That was, oh, that's gonna screw him. I feel like that's almost game-ending attacks right there.
It's pretty terrible. TY is doing one thing that I don't necessarily agree with, which is not cleaning up any of the creep. He does here, but he misses the one creep tumor he's supposed to get. But I think his army might just be too big that creep doesn't matter. Yeah,
plus the upgrades are looking pretty fantastic. Sitting on that 2-2, coming on through those front lines. Tanks even have a little bit of upgrades in them too, so the Lings will still get one shot. Drop over here is not fully cleaned up. One Marine's still standing. He actually responds to it, which is a problem. Distracting him from the main fight, where he's going to lose that 4th base. And HyuN is, like, I feel so bad for him. You're sitting on 1,300 gas. You're trying to get that Spire back up, but by the time you make those 13 or 14 mutas, is it, like, already too far gone?
Yeah, HyuN's, that style, that attack he used to do, it's not like it's, you know, a brand new thing, and it would maybe do enough damage, but you would have like a second attack and a solid follow-up. I don't know if that's going to be the case anymore. Maybe something else happened. That attack just didn't look very impressive, but it didn't look very impressive.
The tank spread was certainly impressive. Takes out all the Baneleys, so now the Marines can just keep pushing forward. Medevac's healing everything. Nothing to stop this force. GG! TY with a hell of impressive game number 1. I really, like, I just cannot, like, we watch TY play well a lot of the time, but these qualifiers have been pretty meh for Terran in general, so watching those slick micro moves during that game, oh, it was so sick.
Maybe, I'm still thinking of a scenario where, like, HyuN's engagement actually goes super well for him. Even if there wasn't a tank, I think there's enough bio.
Well, the tank certainly helped. That much is for certain. Looks like Take TV is going to be casting Curious versus Alive, by the way, guys. So you can always check that out. Meantime, over here, I'm just going to make sure we don't miss the invite for HyuN. I think Crank's getting in. There we go. All right, let's join in this party.
It's a lobby, not a party.
Well, you know what? There's a party in the lobby, okay? And everyone's invited except for you, lame-o. Go play with your nerd friends. Because this is cool kids only territory.
Cool kids playing video games? Fine.
Alright, Overgrowth. It's going to be the map. As you guys can hear those beeps, the countdown's already begun, so we won't bother with an ad break and just get right into the action. Quick reminder, though, before the game loads in, we can only cast up until the round of 8, as per all the other qualifiers, and the ESL stage will take over the rest of it. So we got maybe 1 or 2 more best of 3s in us after this. The winner of this plays Maru or Rogue, but I gotta imagine the mainstream is probably going to follow through, unless this series goes on really, really long for some reason.
Yeah.
But that being said, we'll approach it when we get to it. I do want to give a quick shout out to the foreigners, though. You got Whelmy playing against Haas right now. That's sickest PvP that we're not casting, unfortunately. Bly versus Scarlet as well. Lots of good things to see on the brackets, guys. So if you're joining us live here on Twitch, !brackets in chat. It'll take you to the ESL bracket page. But getting into game number 2, spawning here in the upper right side of Overgrowth, it is the red Zerg player, HyuN.
In the bottom left is the blue Terran. He is TY.
Thank you for the sick game.
His name is TY, I get it. It's better than his old name, Baby. I wonder why he even chose that name. Did he choose that name? Was it give it to him? Did he realize that in like 4 years he'd want to change it so he wasn't a baby anymore? So many questions,
like,
no way to communicate them.
It's like Petit Drogo becoming Drogo, just growing up as he wins tournaments.
Kind of, yeah. Well, he is, I feel, of course, going for the 3-backs again. Now, this is interesting.
It's weird because you could have walled this off at the bottom, right? You do the 1 depot and the 3 barracks.
Yes, that is true. Not what I was going to go for, but you're absolutely right. I don't know why I went for the one on the top, but whatever. I was going to say it's interesting because we don't have any maps that are like Frozen Temple, where the ramp is very close to the hatchery, so you can attack the hatchery, get up the ramp, attack the hatchery, get up, like that type of dynamic, or as much ledge as Frozen Temple had too. Like that was a pretty good map for what is this wall? I guess it's to accommodate for the tech labs, but that's so weird. Anyway,
if that's actually
but the interesting thing about Overgrowth, I think it is. It's like it's perfectly placed, right?
He's like so lazy. Overgrowth, he doesn't want to lift the barracks later, so he risks.
Reapers. It's perfect. I don't know what you're giving him a chef for.
Well, what if this is Mr. Like he won our tournament 8 pooling, right? Like what if HyuN had early pool here and done something really risky? You want to run right past this?
Oh, then he's dead.
Yeah.
No, because he loses. No. TY's not dead. HyuN's still dead because you're opening with Reapers. Who does that? That's
true. It's a funny looking wall, I guess.
Anyways, so my point is that on Overgrowth, while you don't have like a billion ledges to hop up on, you only have this one really. There's no ramp leading to the natural, so your Reapers have some pretty free micro, which is another benefit of Frozen Temple, where there's no ramp at the natural. So this can still provide a lot of pressure. But of course, with TY, it doesn't seem to matter how good or not any situation with Reapers are, as long as he can make them. And he likes them.
Yeah. I love the patrolling Lings too, ready to catch Reapers if they jump up. A little bit greedy, hoping to go for that queen, but decides to back away and fight the other queen. Not losing any Reapers here is very important.
Yeah, it's not so much because he has to snowball, because again he just opens it with it and then goes for 3 CC. It's just that you lose 1 Reaper, then maybe lose 2, maybe 3, and then suddenly their counterattack, should they choose to do one, is that much more difficult to stop. Which HyuN did just make like 30 Lings. That's more than just offensive, but it's also without Banelings, so it's like, how are you just gonna feel useless in the middle of the map?
Well, TY does retreat back home. He's finally got that full wall off, and I mean, again, like this is cool. I like that he did this. I guess to a degree. It's just this is, I feel, not a wall you want to have as Terran though. You don't want to rely on your reactors to be part of your wall against somebody who just showed you a game with a Baneling Roach all-in style.
I guess that's why he went for the barracks on the top, by the way, because that's the one that's going to be able to protect his stim. Whereas the reactors go down, that's 50-50. It's a lot of, investment, but at least it's not your stim or your combat shields being denied.
That's true.
I agree, though. It's like, I can see the thought process. I agree with it to an extent, but also if it's Baneling bust, then you just have no production, so it's still questionable.
Combat shields first, so TY might be getting aggressive behind this, having kept all the Reapers alive the way he has. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, he wanted to last game. He had moved out, but then he lost all his Reapers, which might happen again. Oh, nope, just kidding. Reapers take the high ground.
Grenades are cool, Zombie Grub. Grenades are really cool.
Yeah, how silly of me to believe that Lings would take those on. Well, that means that he might just still push forward with the Marines, but that might have been why HyuN went for the Roach Warren in the first place. I think he's going to go Roaches no matter what, but I also think that maybe the timing is because he's aware of these combat shield attacks that have been seemingly happening in a lot more TVZs lately.
Yo, so Chad's dropping some knowledge bombs on us. Was TY really only 11 when he became a pro?
Yeah, he was seriously a baby.
I knew he was young, but 11? I didn't realize. That's like Raynor style.
I'm pretty sure he's the youngest contender in an individual league. Flash was pretty young too, but not as young. Also, back then you had to get a pro gamer license, and I think Baby would have been the youngest one for that too. Oh, those are the days. You should look up his picture. Oh, he's such a little baby. Okay. So the push does happen, but because HyuN got roaches, he didn't get too greedy on his third base. I think he'll be fine.
Well, with the hatchery going down, or in danger going down, this is going to force HyuN to actually respond. This is a little bit awkward. Again, there's no stim on the Marines, but they got combat shields, so they can take hits for days. We got slow attacking units like roaches. Those extra health points mean everything. Getting a little bit scary getting off of creep, though. He's got to focus right down those banelings. Pops one. Grenade can launch it closer. He's got to be careful about that.
Buying time, getting whatever he can here.
Nice.
It's all good for TY. Yep.
I mean, at the end of the day, he is trading minerals for gas, and he does it rather well.
That split was silly. So good.
I know. I want to like go back and I wish this was a replay on that live so we could like rewind 10 seconds and play it at half speed.
Yeah. Of course, what's more impressive than just microing like that, because I think if you guys are all focusing, you could do that too if you really tried, is that his macro has been on point. He got the 3rd CC down on location while that was happening, and he is aware he lost a portion of his army, and on the off chance HyuN's going to try that counterattack, or the, it wasn't counter, it was just a regular attack. He's going to try that attack again. He's going to have a bunker and maybe the tiniest bit of SimCity. I actually can't explain that spot depot.
It's for scouting, obviously.
You put the tank right up against it, and then I don't know.
Oh, this one too. I mean, I guess it will, if HyuN's like A-moving, maybe cause a little bit of issue as he kind of maneuvers around his own buildings. But like this is funny, because you'd expect to see the depot come down. Like we saw this in the 4, like you would see the wall off right here, top to bottom to the command center.
Oh yeah. The days, man. Yeah, I love this one. This is also how Protosses would protect their
What is it?
cannons.
I don't know what he's doing with the SimCity. It's
I really think he's going for like the what's the in like Japan they made those houses that are like stairs lead to nowhere so that the ghosts get confused or whatever.
I feel like I'm watching A Beautiful Mind featuring TY.
But I seriously think it's just for the off chance the roaches hit the supply depots, the banelings of the supply depots. It's so silly, but
if it is, it soaks some damage. I'm convinced watching Kelazur do the proxy engineering bay that it can work out for people to do that. Just screw with the AI and the auto attacks. Now it is worth noting while we've been paying a lot of attention to TY, HyuN taking a 4th base, macro hatchery in the main, and has mutas about to pop. So everything he tried to do last game that he was denied for, he actually gets to this game.
Yeah, he also goes much faster into the Spire. He doesn't try that weird little attack that didn't look like it was going to work anyway. So while he has roaches, I do wonder if he'll even bother making any more. He got roach speed, so it's a possibility, but I don't know. He might just go pure into Baneling Ling Muta and kind of surprise TY, because again, HyuN, I would say, like, of course he could go mutas. He did everything in his long established career of like a billion tournaments, but that it can sometimes be a surprise. Especially if you did see the roaches first with your marine attack. So, those mutas are going to be able to take out the medevacs, so I would say definitely TY didn't anticipate mutas. Because otherwise, he just lifts and go home, you know?
Yeah.
No waste of units.
No amount of micro could have saved him from that. That was an ambush is what that was. He does have some tanks out, though, so the counterattack might not be so effective. Again, Ling's going to get shot down. Actually, they won't with the +1 armor. They'll survive a tank shot until the upgrades are done for the tanks. But these will still be good against the banelings and the roaches. Mutalisks find their way into the main. Missile turret's not done yet. Ouch.
I do wonder if TY is going to regret going for tanks. Again, he might have been anticipating a roach baneling style. Oh, Jesus. Style, which it's not. Oh, pick up, leave. Like,
I think because of the way... You're right, like, because it's the upgrades and the dedication to the tanks, maybe, just maybe, but at the same time, the tanks are going to be able to one-shot a lot of the Lings to take them out, so it's not like they're terrible units to have.
I love tanks, but I feel like the only reason they came back in TVZ and in Legacy of the Void is because you could pick up the tanks to reposition them. Without them, they died of Lings, they died of Mutas.
They did just soak up a majority of the banelings, so the Marines are still alive and kicking.
Yeah.
But he can't get back to the main. Every time he goes to try and respond to the main, he's pulled out of position and worried about an attack at the front. So finally gets some Marines up to the main to drive off these nasty mutas. This has been way too much damage for too long, and TY's had enough of it.
Yeah. He should be able to put down a couple missile turrets now, though, which will help a little bit, but HyuN is rising to about 22 mutas already, and it's going to be a lot more like the game we saw with Natural versus Rogue. You know, TY is going to probably be pinned back a lot by these mutas.
I think one of the bigger aspects about the mutas is they're not, or sorry, the missile turrets, is they're not there to stop the mutas. They're there to buy you time to respond to the mutas. So getting 1 or 2 up is a pretty big deal, just to buy you those extra crucial seconds.
Yeah. TY, I like that he acknowledged what's happening. It's kind of like, it's funny how this can happen, I guess, in different ways. Like, if you realize you're gonna get to ultras no matter what, you just slap down a 4th base, go to liberators. Now, if you realize the meter's gonna keep you pinned back at home, you slap down a 4th base and get maxed out. That's gonna give HyuN a lot of, like, comfort going to Hive and 2 ultras. He'll probably get there, but TY shouldn't take any damage from attacks like this.
The bunker, as well as the depot, soaked up all the banelings, so this really isn't going to get too out of hand. In fact, almost no SCVs die for it, but it was still a bit of a surprise. TY definitely reacted to that a little bit slowly because he was chasing the mutas in the middle of the map, and these mutas have been a headache, to say the least. Now we're going to have Hive Tech coming up next out of HyuN. Might be a problem. I mean, Rogue showed us you don't need Hive Tech to win a TVZ.
No, you don't. This is abusing the same spot a little too much. TY was on top of it. But the attack to the left might just get into that natural. He's distracted by a tank. And the bunker. If you got the natural, therefore getting the main base, that would be really deadly.
TY's actually... this engineering bay with the reactor add-on. Upgrade twice as many upgrades!
Yeah, I wish. The mutants did try and go into that 3rd base mineral line, but didn't get too much done here.
Oh, the Thor shots, though. He certainly wasn't anticipating that. Takes a couple of nasty hits. Of course, he's got to fly over a turret to get out of the base, or even just the Marines.
He is down 13 mutas from last I checked, so that's pretty significant. They're also weak right now, so they need like the 5 seconds. Mutas, am I right? To recover before they can come back in. But he has got enough time to get to ultras. I do think HyuN kind of over-dedicated with those attacks right there. TY, he's going to get this maxed out really good army, and HyuN does need minerals and gas to actually get to his own late-game army. It's time to recover, though. A lot of creep spread. You know, one of the things about TY just kind of giving up and saying, okay, I guess I'm going to be at home, is that he's not.
Oh, well, not quite giving up entirely. He picks off another muta.
Well, now that he's almost maxed, yeah, he can go out.
The ultras definitely need to be mentioned really quick, guys, because they were changed in the patch. For those who haven't been paying attention, they gained 1 base armor, but lost 2 off of Titan's plating.
Oh, that's so dangerous. Oh my god. Well, the mutas are dangerous, but also just attacking on the creep like this. The huge counterattack of Lings is getting everywhere. Main natural 3rd base.
Big problems. Banelings realize, oh wait, those SCVs are all stacked up over there. Turns around, goes back towards the main. 3rd base is lifted, only mining off the gold, but TY still has a really large standing army on the other side of the map. Tank siege is up, might be able to hold on to this choke. These Marines are awesome with that medevac, but splash damage is a little too much. He is going to hold though eventually. Problem is now, can HyuN stop TY's advance?
Well, the split was really good by TY. Like, there is 20 plus Banelings ready to go. I thought it was going to do a lot more damage than they did. Nope, and HyuN, this is a 3rd, a 4th. I don't think this is enough Banelings now that he's making. He's only making 12. That won't be enough to kill all the Marines. The Marauders are protecting them.
Oh, nice pick up with the Thors. Keeps him alive in the medevacs for just a little bit longer. You're right, another base goes down. HyuN had an army down to 26 supply worth of Lings and Banelings, though. Not where you want to be. The counterattack looked good initially, but this game is probably over. I mean, this is a planetary fortress, for goodness sake. The Lings can't even stop the mining.
TY's timing right there, like, as he was getting maxed out, but not quite, moving out, actually pushing on to creep is usually too dangerous.
Oh, nice pickup!
For the Terran to attempt, but in doing so, he just won this game.
That was one hot pickup out of those medevacs. Yikes. Oh, that Thor is still sitting on 1 health, by the way. 15 kills. I hope that guy gets some repairs.
Oh, the scan of the Burrowed Banelings, too. That could have been really clever by HyuN. GG.
Unfortunately, HyuN will be eliminated from the qualifiers with a 2-0 out of TY. Now, of course, we had dreams and aspirations to follow this, to fight versus Maru or Rogue, but we'll find out if the mainstream is going to be sticking with this side of the bracket. If they are...